Namaskar everyone. This is my first video. My name is Kanupriya Singh. I'm a Vedic astrologer. I've been practicing for the last few years. I also want to thank all the people, my clients who support my work, all the people who follow me on Instagram and like my Facebook page in supporting my work. Thank you very much. Now, what happens is during work, a lot of times I have clients, also family and friends ask me questions related to astrology. So about 2 weeks ago, I had posted a post on my Facebook page saying if you have any questions, subject related questions of Vedic astrology, I will try and answer them in a short video. So I have chosen 3 questions for today which I'm going to answer. My first question is from Zion from Bangalore, and he has shared an experience with me. He writes to me saying that my mother was told by an astrologer that if I don't wear a gemstone which costs around 5,000 rupees, then I will never get married and I will undergo an accident. And he's very upset in his email saying that I don't believe in astrology and this kind of scams that are going on which are money making, and I feel astrology is not a science, and if you can prove it to me, then maybe I'll change my mind. So Zan, I want to tell you something. In 2018, if you look at the doctors, you look at teachers, all the professions which are supposed to be for the welfare of overall human beings, is everyone practicing sincerely? No, right? We're in the middle of a Kalyug era where people are sometimes driven with greed and ambition and selfishness. So it is possible that, like other humans in other professions, some astrologers are also driven by those motives and are not sincerely practicing. So yes, if someone comes and tells you that you have to spend so much money else something bad will happen, I also support you in saying don't believe them. Astrology, the Vedic term for astrology is Jyotish. Jyoti-ish, the combination of two words Jyoti and Ishwar, the guiding light of the divine, comes together to be Jyotish. That is the way we are supposed to look at Jyotish. Jyotish is supposed to guide you through the difficult times of your life. It's not to create fear. So I'm going to try and explain to you and also prove to you that astrology is not fiction. It's not based on fiction. It's the root of astrology comes from astronomy. Now we all know that the planets exist. We all know there are clusters of stars in the sky. We all know that the earth orbits around the sun. So I'm going to show you, I made a rough diagram so you can treat it like an informal tuition session or whatever. See, if you look at this, diagram here. This is the zodiac. This is how basically, I hope you're able to see it clearly. The 360 degrees of the earth moving around the sun, and then that is further divided into 12 portions, 30 degrees each. Now the basis of this again is, the cluster of stars, which is called nakshatra in the Sanskrit terms. Those are divided further into these 12. So basically we are looking at all the planets and the stars that surround us, and we are also observing the movement of earth through these. Now what happens is when the earth moves through these, or when the planets move around the sky, there are different results they cause. There are changes in the environment that happen. The time that we enter this realm, the physical realm. So we are a body, we are a soul, we are an energy body. But when we enter this human body, we enter into the realm of earth, the physical plane, which is basically made of 5 elements, right? Everything around us in the environment is made of the 5 elements. So we interact within these 5 elements. Our body is also made within these 5 elements. And when the moment we enter this earth, the realm of earth, that is the time of birth, that is the first moment we enter this plane, that moment becomes very significant. And there are great calculations done. I'm going to show you again. In case you want to read, then this is the book you need to read from. This is Surya Siddhant. I'm showing it to you here again. I'll also show you the publisher. Motilal Banarasi Das are the publishers, in case you want to buy this book. This has huge calculations. This is just to show you that astrology is all about astronomy. The basis is all about astronomy. It's a science. It does not rise out of fiction. So Surya Siddhant is the book for you, which you can buy, and you can read about what are the calculations that are taken from astronomy, which becomes the basis of the zodiac, which becomes a basis of all our predictions. So I would suggest that absolutely not have blind faith, but understand where the subject is coming from. Instead of doubting the science, it's okay that if you're doubting one person, but don't doubt the science. Read up on it. There's a lot of material available on the net. Surya Siddhant is one of the best books. It goes back to the ancient mathematics, the Vedic mathematics. So they've taken actually Sanskrit verses and they've translated them. They've explained the calculations. Just read. You'll know yourself that it is not fiction. It's a calculation. It's a scientific calculation. So I hope, Zayan, that answers your question. The second question is by Kumar Arya from Gurgaon, and he's asked me that what is the meaning of this diagram that I see in birth charts. I have a printout. I had consulted online many months, years ago, and there was this diagram that was shown. What exactly is that? So, well, this as I explained to you, the zodiac, right? This is the zodiac, right? Now this zodiac is like a map of the sky of the moment when you are born. So this zodiac then gets translated into a diagram like this. See, this is the diagram you're talking about, right? So this diagram is going to indicate the map of the sky at the time of birth. So typically what happens is there are numbers written in this, right? This diagram has usually got numbers written in it. So for example, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So let me explain what these numbers mean. The 12 signs of the zodiac are basically reflected by these numbers. So at your time of birth, the degrees of the zodiac are calculated according to the latitude and longitude of your place of birth, along with the exact time of birth. That calculation gives us the degrees of what was the rising sign at that point. That sign comes in the center. So I've written number 4 here, which means if I'm making a chart with number 4 in the middle, Cancer is the ascendant rising, because it's number 4 is indicated with Cancer. So 1 to 12, 1 is Aries, 2 is Taurus, 3 is Gemini, 4 is Cancer, 5 is Leo, 6 is Virgo, 7 is Libra, 8 is Scorpio, 9 is Sagittarius, 10 is Capricorn, 11 is Aquarius, and 12 is Pisces. Those are your 12 signs. Now these boxes are also indicative of something more. So each and every box indicates a house which is fixed. So this is the first house, this is the second house, then third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, and 12th house. So these are your 1 to 12 houses. These houses are fixed. However, the zodiac in the middle. So these boxes are basically anti-clockwise 12 houses, and these numbers are the zodiacs. Now the houses, each house indicates a portion of your life. So now the house number 1 indicates you as an individual. It's also called the Lagna in Sanskrit. It's called the rising sign in English. It's also called the ascendant. This will indicate more about you. your place of birth, your life in general, your appearance. Second house indicates about family, money, your face. Third house indicates your efforts. The fourth house talk about the mother, your heart, your home. The fifth house is about how you receive knowledge, how you are as a student, how you have, what kind of bhakti bhav you have, what about your children, about your stomach area. The sixth house is about people who serve you, your servants, your service, how you serve, in your job, how you serve others, enemies, disputes. Seventh house is marriage, partnerships, personal relationships. Eighth house is the end of life, death, inheritance, overseas matters, past karma. Ninth house is the father, your dharma, what kind of teachers, how you follow your duties in life. 10th house is work, your karma, your father's money, what is your karma in life. 11th house is elder siblings, friends, benefits, the labh, the profits that you have in life, the gains that you have in life. 12th house is loss, how you sleep, how you are in your sexual relationships is also partly is also seen from 7th and 12th. So similarly, basically the idea of this diagram is it's like a map of the various aspects of your life. It's also the map of how the cosmos was when you were taking birth. So the houses are fixed 1 to 12, which indicate the various areas of your life. These numbers are indicative of the zodiac signs. So a zodiac is like a place that falling into a particular area of your life will affect the nature of that area of your life. And then further on, apart from these, the planets are placed. So then the chart becomes like this. So there's all the planets, the name will be written. There'll be Jupiter, there'll be Mars, whatever it may be. There's one more way the chart is drawn, which is this. This is the South Indian way of drawing it. Mostly in North India, the diamond chart is used, and in South India, the square box is used. Here, 1 to 12, the zodiac is fixed, but the houses move, and it's also called the Guru Chakra. And the North Indian style is called the Bhrigu Chakra or the Shukra Chakra. So I hope, Kumar, that you've got some clarity about what this diagram exactly means. So an astrologer looks at this diagram and he gets to know so many things about your life. He gets to know how each and every aspect of your life is going to be, how the person looks, how their health issues are going to be. So it's like a snapshot of everything that's going to be happening. That's the birth chart, which I've explained. The last question that I've taken is from Nena from Mumbai, who's asked me, how do you study personal relationships in astrology? So Nena, there are a lot of ways and a lot of tools to study personal relationships. I'm going to quickly mention some of them. I will not be able to explain you in detail how to use it, but I will tell you how the tools work. As I mentioned in these houses, of course, the 7th house is the house of marriage and personal relationships. So the 7th house is seen. Venus is seen for love and personal relationships. Mars is seen for passion. So when you look at a chart, there are a lot of things you're going to quickly see for marriage and personal relations. You'll see the 7th house. You will see the planet and the zodiac influencing the 7th house. You will see the placement of Mars and Venus in the chart. Apart from these basic tools, they're divisional charts. So you must have seen in a horoscope, there are a lot of these boxes that are made, not just the first page, but there's so many pages. So those are again a lot of calculations there. From every house, there's a further calculation done. The D9 chart is a division of from the 9th house, which shows you about the dharma and your journey of life, which creates the Navamsha chart. So usually you'll see D1 Lagna, D9 Navamsha. These two charts will be prominent in your Patri. So the D9 also again indicates about what kind of dharma you will experience in terms of marriage. How is your bhagya? Are you going to be someone who will receive love and respect because that is your destiny in this lifetime? Or are you going to be someone who's destined to go to a hard journey because you have spiritual lessons to learn through your relationships, and that's going to be how your relationships are going to be? All that is seen from the D9 chart. Then there is another tool called the Arudha Chakra. So I'm going to briefly explain the concept. Now, when we look at this chart, we see how the person is, right? We can see how they look, how tall are they, all of that. But there are two things that happens. A is me as an individual. This is how I look. This is how I behave. This is how my body structure is. It's about me, my physical being. But what happens is there is a perception that I create when I walk around the world. So suppose I go to work and as a boss, I'm very, very strict. So that is my perception at work. How I'm perceived at work is that I'm a very strict person. When I'm home and I'm with my family, maybe I'm very fun loving. So they are going to perceive me as someone who's fun loving. So now what I've done is I've created two perceptions. I'm strict and I'm fun loving. See how opposite they are? Fun loving, strict, serious. Two opposite things. They're both me. So similarly, every individual, as they move through life and they interact and they play different social roles, create different images, right? So your image actually has nothing to do with you. Your perception has nothing to do with you. How people perceive you has nothing to do with you. Someone might say nasty things about you, but you may actually be a nice, kind person at heart, right? So similarly, now in astrology, how do we study perception? Because obviously perception has nothing to do with who you are. So there is a way to study the perception part of your life, which is called the Arudha Chakra. The Arudha Lagna is basically the image that you have created in society. And yes, there's a way to study that as well. People, especially who go through false allegations and loss of reputation, or people, for example, Taimur Ali Khan, little child being born, so famous, what did he do? He just got born. So look at the kind of perception of image was very, very strong, right? So again, there'll be planets influencing your Arudha Chakra. So similarly, the Arudha of the 12th house, which is the house of sleep, which is the house of sexual relationships, is also the house of giving, the way you give to people, the way you lose. It's a house of loss as well. So it's called the Upapada. That also indicates about your marriage, about your perception in marriage, about how your interaction in marriage is going to be. So Nana, so few main concepts as I'm going to just summarize for you. 7th house, Mars, Venus, zodiac and planets influencing the 7th house. The Navamsha chart. These are all the tools that you see in a chart to study relationships and marriages. I hope I was able to answer the questions that you all asked. A lot of people wrote to me about readings, about when will this happen, when will. So predictions I'm not giving right now. I was very specific when I said I will answer subject related questions. These 3 questions I picked because I also felt that they were very basic, and I wanted to start my first session with very basic things to explain what those basic things are. And please write to me again. I will share my email address one more time, and I will answer questions in the next second session as well, according to whatever questions I get. I hope you will write to me, and I can answer further questions in another session. And please follow me on YouTube and on my Facebook page. I don't post very often, but I do post predictions on the stock market, general predictions. So if you'd like to see my predictions, then just subscribe to me and you will get an update and you'll be able to see the predictions. I will be coming up with more videos on astrology, their mantra files, and I will also be coming up with a meditation very soon. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you liked it. If you